Well, I wanted to talk to you briefly about the video that I'm just about to show you. I've never shot bluebells before. I've shot the odd one on its own, but I've never gone out specifically to shoot them. But as it was bluebell season, I thought, oh, what the hell, we'll have a go. I had no idea on the technique for shooting bluebells. And to be honest, it never occurred to me for 1 second to actually Google it and see if there was a technique. So I poddled off, and at the time I thought that I really liked the images. And I always leave it a week or so before I start processing photos after a shoot. I just load the images onto my hard drives and I forget about them for at least a week. I find there's too much emotion attached to the images to start editing and looking at them immediately. Now I've processed them, I'm really not certain about them. I kind of like them, but yeah, they're not what I was wanting. Maybe that was the issue. But the one thing I did want to say is no bluebells were harmed in the making of this video. I did bash a couple, but it was only with a lightweight reflector. They bounced straight back up. And I've always said I will show you the good and the bad on this channel. And this isn't bad, but it's not good. But you'll have to let me off for 1 week. Good morning. Now, for the last couple of weeks, all I've seen on the web, pretty much, is bluebells. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been decidedly under the weather with a virus or viral thing and some sort of kidney infection, so I really haven't felt like going out. And I'm finally feeling better, so I thought I would take a venture out and see what I could find. Now, I believe the bluebells are probably on the way out. And I've been looking for the archetypal image that you get, which is swathes of bluebells going down either side of a nice winding path lined by silver birches or pine trees. But I've come out to, it's not really a local wood, it's a wood I've passed hundreds and hundreds of times on my way over, I believe it's Woodhead. And I finally decided to come and have a nosy round, because I didn't want to be going too far. And I found this patch. This is the first patch of bluebells I've come across. And what I've decided to try and do is isolate one particular bluebell, focus on that, and then that will throw the rest of the bluebells that are behind it out of focus. Then we've got the beautiful, really vibrant green canopy, and I think these are beech trees, because spring is coming. It's lovely. All the colours are so fresh and clean. So I'm shooting at f10. I'm manually focusing. I'll turn you around in a second and show you which one I'm focusing on. I'm actually shooting on aperture priority today because I'm feeling idle. And I've got a little reflector. This was another little bargain. And I'm using on its gold side to try and bring some warmth into the image. Somewhere I've got a remote trigger. Shooting portrait orientation, I'm holding the reflector as close to the bluebell I want illuminated as I can, whilst keeping an eye on the LCD display that I'm not actually getting it in shot. There's just the merest breath of wind. And that just adds a little bit more light onto the bluebell that I'm focusing on. As I say, manual focus, portrait orientation, and f8. This gives me several options. It just unzips. I've got silver, white, black, gold, and then I've got a diffuser inside as well. It's quite a handy little piece of kit, this. So I was going to just see. All you do is take that out, turn that inside out. And I tend to carry this wherever I go. Can't remember the last time I used it. And this was another one of those silly bargains. It was a 7 or 8 quid, I think, off of, this was off eBay. Right, just close the zip up. And try with the silver side. I wanted the gold side to add a little bit of warmth. The silver side just adds more light. So as close in as I can get it. Yeah, really does help to emphasise that single bluebell. Right, so it's this little bluebell here, whoops, this one, that I'm focusing on. And as you can see, I've got a mass of bluebells in the background and the canopy of beech leaves. Those beech leaves are glorious. You can see the difference on the, particularly on the stalk or the stem, the amount of light that's getting reflected back up. Now there is, as I say, a slight breath of wind, and because I haven't got a particularly fast shutter speed, I need to wait until it's as still as possible. That's it. Yeah. Well, I've not had to move far to find another composition. We have a white bell in the midst, sort of surrounded by the bluebells. So I've moved down to f4.5, which is giving me 1/100th of a second. I'm always on ISO 100. I'm still shooting aperture priority. Excuse my phone. I could put it onto manual and just reduce the shutter speed. But why make life complicated? Why not just shoot on aperture priority? And I'm just balancing that in there. Again, there is the slightest breath of wind. It's just a case of waiting until that wind dies off and then taking the shot. I've manually focused, which is fairly impressive for me because I haven't got my glasses on, so I'm kind of struggling a little bit. At that shallow depth of field, f4.5, there are going to be bits of the flower that aren't in focus. I'm just going to try another focus on, in fact, let me go back on, I'm on live view. I'm zooming in. Actually, 100%, the bit of the petal that is closest to the camera looks sharp, and it magnifies the movement, something wicked. So you look at the plant and think, oh, it's not moving. And then you look at the image at 100% magnification and think, crikey, Moses is blowing a gale. So I'm just going to try one more. So we'll put it onto mirror up so it's ready. Wait for it. There. And that makes, let's just see. Yeah, I think that's okay. I've got quite a nice dark background, although you can still see the bluebells. And the reflector is just putting a little bit of a pop onto this solitary white bluebell. Or white bell, should I say. And it's the only one I can see around here. Very strange. Well, I'm having a lovely wander around these woods. I've been reading on one of the notice boards. We're up at Warncliffe side, I think it is. And pretty much whole of this area is a site of specific scientific interest. There are a fair few endangered species of birds and mammals up here. I completely forget the names. There's a type of lizard, and I think he said a pipit, a bird, anyway, 2 types of birds. And it's so peaceful. And quite by accident, I've done a intentional camera movement. I do quite like those. Now, when I last did one, I think I was just giving a voiceover. I don't think I showed you how I was doing it. Right. Oh, I'm just about to slide down the embankment. So, I have got the camera set at f4.5. I have pre-focused to get as much as I can in focus, which with f4.5 is not going to be a huge amount. That's giving me a shutter speed of 1/100th of a second. Move the camera up as I press the trigger. And yeah, I quite like that. You're getting a mass of bluebells, so a mass of blue, and then the spooky feel of the trees in the background. And it really is a quick wrist action. I could increase the aperture and therefore reduce the shutter speed, but I quite like the f4.5 effect. Try one more. Yeah. Today is definitely more about the intimate bluebell shots, and I'm just wandering around. There's swathes of them, but the background really isn't doing anything for me, other than with the ICM, which I think works really well. Now I've come across this little patch here and have a beautiful single bluebell all on its own. So I'm sticking with, f4.5. I'm in a bit of a tricky spot here. I'm sort of standing on an embankment on a broken tree log. Broken something or other that's very slippery. So I'm looking at this bluebell here. I'm going to focus on this. That's going to throw the rest of the bluebells out of focus, but you're still going to get that glorious blue colour. I'm still shooting at, taking a photo of a pile of weeds. f4.5 and ISO 100. Although I'm hand holding, I'm still going to manually focus. Yeah, that actually looks quite nice. I could do with just a little bit more light coming on here, but I'll take it. It's good. I'm sorry about the blown out bit there. The sun is coming directly in. That's past 5 hours. I did actually come out for sunrise. So I was out of the house at 5 o'clock this morning. It's now just after 10 and my tummy's rumbling. So it's time for breakfast. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little wander and maybe some different type of images for bluebells. I don't know, I'm sure there are lots of intimate bluebell photos out there, but I've liked to do my own take on them. And I hope it's given you the encouragement that if you haven't got the woods with the swathes of bluebells and the nice winding paths lined with beautifully clean silver birch trees, you can still go out and get some quite nice images. That's the plan anyway. So that's it for this week. I'm off. I need some food. I need a cup of tea. Hope you're all having a fab weekend, and I'll catch up with you again soon. Bye.